Hello there, this is Prokopis from EffectiveMusicPractice.com, and today I'm going to share with you a concept that can help you open new improvisation possibilities in your soloing. It's a concept called randomization, and it's an essential part of the linear freedom improvisation method. Although it's actually very simple, I have seen it literally transform the playing of many of my guitar students. You see, when you practice a musical structure, like for example a scale or an arpeggio, you tend to just play it up and down. Which is very useful to do, because that's how the structures are usually used in music, mostly moving up or down in a linear fashion. Of course, it can be very cool to sometimes mix the notes around and create a more eccentric sound. This is what we call angular playing as opposed to linear, but that's usually a special effect or reserved for certain styles. The bulk of our musical vocabulary consists of more linear melodies, but that doesn't mean that these lines need to be boring. This is where randomization comes in. It's the process with which we teach our mind to change directions unpredictably when playing melodies, so that they don't sound like exercises anymore. Combine that with sprinkling in a few interval skips, and with some practice you can reach a point where you can generate countless original and interesting melodies, without depending on memorization or learning licks. Of course, learning licks can also be very interesting and useful if done intelligently, but that's another story. Now, we go deep with this concept in my Linear Freedom Improvisation course, where we first build a solid foundation of muscle memory in both hands before getting into this. But randomization can give you results even if you start practicing it in its simplest form, which I will show you right now. I'm going to show you a clip from Lesson 6 of Linear Freedom, where I explain the main concept and then demonstrate over a backing track. You can then apply this to any scale you want. If you're watching this on the Effective Music Practice website, you can also find more randomization examples below using different picking techniques and links to other free linear freedom improvisation lessons. You can also find a playlist of modal backing tracks and a diagram of the scale I use in the examples so that you can practice this. Creative without having to think too much. As with every skill, you first have to do it on purpose before it becomes automatic. So here's how we do it. Start playing the scale in the ascending direction on any note very slowly, and after a few notes, change direction. Then descend for a few notes and change direction again. Keep doing this randomly. You can change direction anytime, after 3 notes, after 5, 2, whenever you want. If you catch yourself avoiding some options, then do them on purpose a few times. Notice that we're not necessarily returning to the top or the bottom of the scale as we did before. We just change direction unpredictably. This may feel uncomfortable in the beginning, so do it as slow as you need to do it in order to sustain your playing for a long time without mistakes. After some practice, you'll see yourself doing this automatically. Your intuition will start to take over. You can increase the speed as long as you can still do it without mistakes. Now, this is still not very musical, but when you have this foundation established, it will be much easier to add rests, skips, and rhythmic variation later and transform it into a limitless source of inspiration. Once you begin to feel more comfortable doing this, go ahead and practice it over the supplied backing tracks. After you do that for a while, then you can experiment with rhythmic variation and adding other elements to make it more interesting. We'll discuss this more in a later lesson, but for now your priority is to build the foundation of pure linear playing first. I'm now going to show you an example of practicing randomization over a backing track.